Hey, it's Zane, welcome back. Hope you're doing great. My little mate Chili's here today. He's had a little sabbatical for the past couple of weeks, but he's here to say hello. Say g'day Chili. G'day Chili. Great to have you with me. I want to get into today's video, an important one today. I want to share with you why Bitcoin is so much more than just an investment. Bitcoin is much more than an investment. It is insurance. And I want to give you 4 reasons why here today in this video. And I've made a few little notes here, so pardon me for just looking down a little bit. I want to make sure I share with you really what is on my mind here today. But Bitcoin is insurance, and why is this important? Well, point number 1 is that we live in an age of economic chaos. This is an age of economic chaos, and whilst where I'm sitting right now, it's quite peaceful, although there's a siren over in the distance there. The lawns have just been cut. We've had a heap of rain. Trees, beautiful. Everything's crisp. The air's crisp. Birds are chirping. Chili's here smiling. Life seems good. But you and I both know that there's a certain reality to what's going on outside in the world right now that has the potential to really impact not just our future, but that of our kids and those we care about and love in the future. And Bitcoin represents the insurance policy. Bitcoin represents the hedge, the escape hatch, the Life-Raft, the thing that you and I need to be paying attention to, because I believe it is the only solution that exists. And I want to explain why for you here today. And you may already know this, but I think that the more we keep hammering this message into our psyche, the better off we're going to be, because we are about to enter quite a chaotic time, a very disruptive time. The more that Bitcoin disrupts the financial system, it's going to be very, very disconcerting for many, many, many people. And I want to kind of tap into that a little bit here as well. But the reality is that in the age of economic chaos, what can we see? We can see inflation out of control, the cost of living out of control. People are working harder and harder for less. Young people can't seem to see a bright future for themselves financially because there's no hope anymore. They can't save their way to prosperity. The prospect of ever being able to own their own home in America, in Australia, in Canada, in these so-called civilized societies, where for the longest time we've always had this understanding, that if we just work hard and we just save and we just do the right things and we do everything the system wants us to do, go to school, go to higher education, get a good job, pay our superannuation, save for a house, start a family, the whole thing is a complete, total and utter fabrication. It is a complete lie. And we're now starting to see the manifestation of that lie. And yes, there are still many, many people, the vast majority of people still asleep at the wheel. But anybody, if they're being totally honest with themselves, I'm sure would acknowledge that things are not quite right. And so this is the age of economic chaos, a growing wealth gap, inflation, increasing debt, governments around the world who can no longer fund their spending programs through taxation. And it's politically unpopular to increase taxation, so what do? They don't need taxation. All they need is access to the big red button, which of course is the money printer. And this is the thing they've had unfettered access to since 1971. And you and I have no surveillance, control, visibility, awareness as to how much money is in circulation at any given time, which means when we go and exchange our knowledge, our skills, our intellectual knowledge, when we take risks as entrepreneurs, when we do all of these things to try and generate this thing called money, this thing that we all aspire to have, which is a good life, which we need money for, essentially what we're doing is we're working for a currency that is being diluted. And so we are trying to store our economic energy in a no-win game, in an economic resource or monetary system that is continually being corrupted through inflation. And so with Bitcoin, we have insurance, because all of a sudden we can now preserve and protect and store our economic value in something that cannot be printed, because it is fixed, it is finite, and the rules cannot be changed. So in the age of economic chaos, Bitcoin is insurance for your financial life and your wealth. That's point number one. Point number two is that Bitcoin is sovereign protection. Now, what does that mean, sovereign protection? It means that for the first time in history, if you do this right, it means that you are the head of security of your own financial life. Not a bank, not a financial planner, not a broker, not an accountant. You are now in charge of your own financial life. You are the head of security. And this is the way that Satoshi intended it for it to be. Sovereign money, peer-to-peer value transfer. And we seem to have forgotten that. Even a lot of Bitcoiners have forgotten that. Bitcoin is sovereign money. It is the opportunity for you to opt out from the control system. But it only exists if you actually do it right. It's no good buying, a bag of Satoshis or Bitcoin and leaving on an exchange and thinking that you're a Bitcoiner and that you're participating in the freedom revolution. It's just not the case. You have to do the next step. And this is why I have these one-on-one calls with people, because I really get to help people take that next step, which is such an important step that many, many people haven't yet taken. So Bitcoin is sovereign protection. No banks, no middlemen. You are the head of security. No confiscation, no seizure, no risk of lawsuits, right? Bitcoin, he who holds the keys holds the Bitcoin. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. Okay, and so I don't want to get too deep into this in this video, but you just have to understand that Bitcoin is the first truly opt-out strategy and opportunity for you to have sovereign wealth, sovereign money. But you must have the keys, not an exchange, not a collaborative custody setup. You must have the keys. Number three is financial autonomy is empowerment. How do you feel in your life when you feel empowered? When you have the skill set and the knowledge and the impetus to move forward, knowing that you can do this. That's what Bitcoin gives you. It gives you that sense of inner knowing that when you understand and you learn the simple skills, that you can do this, you can be in control, you can be the master of your own financial life. And so financial autonomy, which is what Bitcoin is when you do it right, is empowerment. And you don't need permission from anybody, because there's no counterparty, there's no middleman, there's no third party you need to contact. And so what does this do? It gives you complete portability, which of course equals freedom, because when you have your assets and your wealth and a meaningful portion of all of that stored in this monetary system called Bitcoin, this decentralized protocol, it means that you have the ability to move wherever you need to move at a moment's notice should your current situation become untenable. That is empowerment. Because if you have all of your assets and wealth exposed to the central control system and you need permission from middle people and third parties and counterparties, you don't have that autonomy, you don't have that freedom, you don't have that portability and that flexibility and that liberty that you have with Bitcoin. And so that's a really, really powerful thing I want you to ponder. Financial autonomy is empowerment. So, so powerful. Number four, and this is the final point today, insurance. Insurance today means freedom tomorrow. Insurance today means freedom tomorrow. If you start thinking to the future, if you start extending out your time horizon, if you go back to planning like we used to, like when we were kids, we used to save for things. We didn't go and put them on a credit card and then pay 20% interest for the privilege because we needed to have the thing now. We used to have this thing called lay-by. Whereas if we wanted something, what did we have to do? We had to go down and put a deposit on it at Target or at the toy store or at the electronics store or wherever it might have been. And then we'd pay it off over the course of, a few weeks or a month or so. And then when we paid it off, we'd get the thing. And that's called delaying gratification. That's called working towards something. Whereas now, what do we have? That's all gone by the wayside. Nobody works for anything anymore. Nobody thinks that they need to delay gratification for anything. And look at the cost to society now. Financial cost, societal cost, the cost in how people are incentivized, the quality of work gets put out. Everybody's always in a hurry to get onto the next job. They're not here to just be of service and to maximize their contribution and to do a great job anymore. And this is a function of broken money and economic chaos. And so insurance today equals freedom tomorrow. You must plan now before it's too late. I want you to have a future-based mindset. Bitcoin forces you to become future-based. It forces you to delay gratification. It forces you to protect and preserve your economic energy today for the future. And that means we're trading the present for the future. And so whilst everybody else is out there having a good time today, who are going to be sitting ducks in the future in this tightening control system, you and I are planning and protecting and preserving and getting ourselves set up so that if and when this thing starts to unravel, we have options. We have options, and that's what Bitcoin gives you. It gives you options. But you need to act. You need to really start moving towards this learning curve. You need to develop your conviction to a point where you don't need to know it all. You just need to know enough to know that this makes sense, and then you need to start moving one step, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. You just take one step at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. I can step you through the process, but this is such an important thing, and I can't emphasize how important it is to be getting on this Life-Raft right now. Things are going to get worse, not better. And it's not being alarmist or conspiratorial or any of those things. It's just being prudent. It's noticing the signs, the red flags, what's going on in the financial system, having a deep understanding of that, the life cycle of it, and why Bitcoin exists. Bitcoin is a 16-year-old asset that came at a very, very important time for a very, very important reason. And that was on the back of the global financial crisis in 2008. And now it's an idea whose time has come. So if you're not on the Life-Raft, get on the Life-Raft, start taking action. If you need my help to start safeguarding your future using Bitcoin as an asset, please book a call with me. You'll get tremendous value from your time with me. I can guide you in the right direction in terms of self-custody, leveling up your strategy when it comes to Bitcoin accumulation. If you want to transfer your underperforming industry super fund and set yourself up with a Bitcoin-friendly SMSF, I know exactly where to point you to a professional who does this properly, who does this right. There's so much we can get through in an hour on Zoom, and every single person who has a call with me gets tremendous value. The feedback I get is incredible, and I appreciate every single one of you who takes the time to set that up with me. So if you're in that boat sitting on the fence, book a call. Other than that, let me know your comments. What do you think about these 4 things? The age of economic chaos. Bitcoin is sovereign protection from it. Financial autonomy is empowerment. That's a big one. And number 4 is insurance today equals freedom tomorrow. So Bitcoin is not just an investment, it's insurance. I hope you got the message loud and clear today. Please like, share and subscribe. Leave your comments. Book a call with me if you need to do that. This is Zane signing out. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.